Finishing up mile 100 in the 6 days in the home. And I'm going to be doing it in a little under 106 hours, which isn't any big deal. But this is the first time I've actually gotten past 100 miles in a race of sorts since 2019, when I finished across the years with something over 200 miles, 250 or something like that. But 219 was just terrible. I dropped out of Blue 72 at mile 70 or so, went to the Dome and didn't even get 100K. That's 6 days at the Dome. And then I went to Snowdrop last New Year's and got sick and was dropped out at 75. So at least I finished something for a change. So the plan was 100 all along. Didn't think I'd get it in under 4.5 days. Average moving pace was under 31 hours, sub 19, so that was good. I really thought it was going to take me all 6. I started off, went 18, 18, 18, but yesterday I did 24, and so that's why I kind of got the idea of finishing it up today. I'll probably do some miles tomorrow. I'll probably get to like 110. Of course, back in 2013, I did my first solo 6 days in the home. I didn't call it that back then, but and I did 211 miles. But this was far more difficult in a way because I had such a terrible 2019 of just dropping out of things mentally. And then, of course, in March, had the Johnsburger grease fall where I basically couldn't walk for 6 weeks. Then when I could, I was doing like 30, 40-minute miles. Had to call Blanca to pick me up many times after only being out for a mile. And then I couldn't breathe, and it got so bad at the end of April, I went to the hospital. If you know me, I hate doctors. Ever since I went to UC San Diego with all of them. And I checked myself in the hospital and couldn't breathe, diagnosed with congestive heart failure, and the rest is history. I kind of went out and did this workout, taking my Lasix. Which isn't a good idea. This morning, it was really cold, nobody out on the bike path. This afternoon is absolutely gorgeous. It's like 60 degrees out here. And you take the Lasix, you got to go pee. And kind of difficult to go pee. There's so many people around, so that was kind of amusing. But I guarantee you the drugs are making my quality of life probably better, but definitely taking an edge off my competitive ability. The blood pressure medicine especially. In the past I've taken it and it just kind of slows you down. But hey, I'm almost 58, started endurance racing in 1979, so now I'm in my 6th decade of racing, 70s, 80s, 90s, O's, 10s, and now the 20s. Ran my first marathon in 1980, so I got 80s, 90s, O's, 10s. Got to do a marathon sometime in the 20s, which I'm sure I will this year once COVID ends. I've done 10 states where I've done an ultra, and I kind of like to add to that list. So glad I'm done with this. A lot of miles. I walked all the way, and the feet were hurting, as they always do. So a little bit, but I want to thank my friend Scott, who was doing a 6-day, and me and him kind of just said, hey, why don't we throw it up on the internet? I mean, I came up with that in 6 days in the home. We got a few people doing it with us. My buddy Abby up in Portland, she's probably over 100 now. I think she was beforehand, so we'll have to see how they do. And looking forward to getting home and having some pot stickers. They already texted me and said, hey, the food's on the table, and I'm almost home in a few minutes. So, yep, it was, I think this would be my 9th, 6th day. Did 2 solos. Did the Dome twice. One time I did 270. I went for 400, blew up, didn't get the 3. And then last 2019, I just went home after 60 miles. And then I did 5 at across the years. The first one was the best one, 322. And I did a 315 at 200 and a couple somewhere in the mid 250s. One time I left after 4 days. So I think I'm done with these 6 days. They're just way too much. Even if you're only trying to do 100, still if you're walking, doing 16 miles a day, you're talking 3 miles an hour, so 6-7 hours of walking around. If I had somebody with me, it's a different competition, but doing these solo virtual. Gotta hand it to people who can do this stuff. I'm just not a solo kind of guy. So, y'all have a great New Year's. If you're watching this video, please subscribe. I know everybody asks you to do that, but I'm at 97. I'd like to get to 100. And then, of course, I'd love to get to 1,000. And as always, stay healthy, be boring, not epic.